Welcome back to YCN News. We turn now to town meeting in Putney to hear why this annual meeting remains important in the Green Mountain State.
What we've seen today is what's going on out there. This is a good, lively public discussion. I think, like so many things, it's a matter of information. It was fairly clear that this year the question of tax exemption for these properties that Landmark College has acquired was going to cause some contention and some dialogue.
Just as what was said, I mean, some of the ones that are dealing with tax exemptions are always difficult, a large part due to the fact that a lot of the statutes and laws are kind of unclear and vague in certain areas, or you might get differing opinions from different people. So more than anything, it just made us realize that we have, a lot of footwork to do to kind of really get on top of these things. Today it was a perfect example, even though I'd love to see more voters, and this is the reason why. Here's a perfect example. We're all a relatively homogenous looking group of people, but we all have diverse talents and interests and backgrounds. And, I've thought a lot about some of these things that come up today, but 6 or 7 other ideas I would never have thought of came up because of people's particular expertise and their understanding, where they live, where they come from, and that's what you get. You get such an array. It makes it more difficult, but I think you get a much clearer picture rather than someone else just making decisions for you. So when something works like this, and then eventually the majority rules, at least you've had your voice heard. And there's very few times these days.
It may not go the way you want, but
it may not.
Yet you will be heard.
Exactly, but I mean, as long as you can be heard, maybe you can convince someone. Some people today made me look at things a little bit differently, and have made me think differently about some of these ideas. So, I mean, it's very, very informative.
Thank you very much. The faculty and staff housing, 5 units, as I mentioned. It's close to campus. It serves the college purpose. It allows the faculty and staff to be close to the students when needed. It also gives us a really great short-term advantage in recruiting people to Putney, to the college, so they can stay there for a short period of time and then look for a house to buy. Everyone in that current facility is a faculty staff member. There's one former staff member who lives there, a beloved staff member, has been a Putney resident for years, closely connected to our alumni relations. So he's a former staff member. The rest are all faculty and staff. I also have to tell you all, higher education, like all of education, it can be a very challenging business. It's not easy for us to recruit students to this type of college at our cost. And if I only have, and I know what we're voting on here, but this sentiment about maybe reviewing this year by year, we cannot create the perception of excitement for this college that we will be able to provide students new elements for their college experience if I'm not sure whether or not we'll have approval. It'll be very difficult to plan and look out and to keep students here if my tongue is tied and I absolutely cannot say to them, we're going to work on this next, because I'm not sure where we'll be. In terms of master planning for the college, that's going to really hurt our admissions and our recruiting. Again, we bring in well over $100,000 of revenue to Putney alone. And I'd like to see it grow a little bit. To do that, we have to have a runway and a vision and an ambitious plan to make this a great college. I can't do this if year by year I have to come back and see whether or not it's possible. Thank you.
I'm speaking directly to the property and the apartment building. As being a neighbor there, I know the neighbors. I know there's people in that building that actually are not employees of that college. And I just think that, we cannot keep taking property off this list, and eventually nobody's going to be able to even afford to live here. There may be a big school, but there'll be no taxpayers here. And then what will we have?
I do want to say something from my own experience. I've taught at a number of colleges and universities, and I was glad to hear what Peter just hinted at, and I would like to wish he would make it a policy. I have lived in faculty housing at 3 universities or colleges, and in each case they were limited to 1 year. And the reason for that was that the faculty member might come from California or somewhere else and wouldn't know the town. This would give that faculty member a year in which to size up the community, size up the college and find a place to live if indeed he or she was going to stay here.
We've already bought this is already faculty housing, and we're not trying, I also am very supportive of Landmark. We get a lot of business when the parents come. But I do think, you know, the Putney Central School teachers don't get tax exemptions for their housing. And this is a college, and I don't have any objection to it being faculty housing. The only objection is that it be tax exempt.
And they're doing a multi-million-dollar upgrade or addition. So they're a multi-million-dollar corporation that pays no taxes. We're building a sidewalk to them that pay no taxes. And I'm sure the town is going to get to maintain it. That's all another freebie for them. I don't know where they stand on the sewer and water, but they participate in the town services. And if you take the $32,000 that they give us, it's not going to cover any small part of what they get from this town. Thank you.
Thanks to Dan Carbonara for producing the Putney segment. Well, we had some sun, some snow. Mike Pizzone will check that forecast and updates us on local sports, all when YCN News returns.
The YCN News continues in a moment.